In this video I'm going to give an overview of tab 3, the structure tab in Writing Helper. Before this you will have been through the question tab, and that was all about understanding what you're being asked to do and starting to come to a plan or an idea of how you're going to go about answering that. And a key part of answering the question is the outline view, the structure. So that's what we do here in stage 3, and there are a couple of different ways to do that. You can either create the structure manually by renaming, reorganizing these 6 sections that just appear by default, or you can use the import structure button to bring a structure from either previous projects or from visual mapping software. You will have seen how we can export to visual mapping software earlier in the question tab. Here we can import back from visual mapping to close that loop. So it's entirely possible to create your complete structure or parts of your structure in visual mapping programs and import them with a couple of clicks. What I want to do in this video as an overview though is just show you some of the functionality in the manual creation, and other videos after this one will show you exactly how this import structure button works for the different approaches, that is from different mind mapping applications or from previous projects. So here we are looking now at this default structure that you get, which is 6 colours, 6 sections named section 1, section 2 through to section 6. I want to rename these. Each of these horizontal long bars is a section. So this first section I might want to call Introduction. So let me rename that. The second section might be Literature. You might have Background. You might have something like Methods and Results. Results and Discussion, or Results and Analysis. And then finally maybe something like Discussion and Conclusions. This is a very technical report style. An essay or a dissertation might have a completely different structure, but I hope this helps illustrate what we're doing here. Each of these sections can have subsections underneath it. So to add more sections if we wanted to, we can use this first button here on the add in the add area of the toolbar. We'll add a subsection underneath Introduction. So select Introduction, add a subsection, and rename that to Aims and Objectives. That's a sensible subsection to have in your introduction. And below that I'm going to add 2 tasks. The first task is going to be to state the aims, and the second task to state the objectives. It's fairly trivial, and it's something you might always do in a technical report. In the discussion and conclusions you might repeat that task to refer back to your aims and objectives. Your literature section, you might have a few subsections and tasks under there, same with any of the other sections. And as you can see, as I'm adding elements to this using these buttons on the toolbar, the outline view is becoming a bit more comprehensive. All of this is very flexible. It doesn't have to be complete. You can jump straight ahead to stage 4. You can just use the 6 colours and sections that come out of the box. And you can also reorganize this. So I'm going to drag background above literature. It's very common to have background before literature. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Note that background has 3 children. It has 2 subsections, and one of those subsections has a child of its own, this new task here. I can take background with its 3 children by just dragging it with the mouse and dropping it there between introduction and literature. When I let go of the mouse, you see it takes its children with it. All of that was manual with the mouse, but you can use these buttons as well. I can, for example, take background and move it back down again with the down button, or back up. And you can see how that moves and takes its children. If a section is getting too long, for example, let's take this literature and put a lot more subsections, it might start to look like we might have a lot to say, so it might become sensible to split the literature into separate sections. You can simply do that by taking this outdent button This subsection you might want it to become a full section all by itself. Click the outdent and note it not only outdented and became a full section, it changed colour as well, and everything after it is now a child of it. You can also indent that back if you want to. So you've got that full control and flexibility in terms of defining the outline view. Also, subsections that are, this subsection here, for example, is a child of literature. I can just drag it out and move it into the methods section as well. And notice the colours change always to match the parent. So you've got this absolute flexibility, but also simplicity in terms of what you can do here. It's focused entirely on your outline view, now the structure of the writing that you're putting together. So this here is a illustrative structure. It doesn't have to be final, but it gets you started and it helps you put ideas that you might have onto or into the project.